There we go. Hello.
I was gonna say something. Like I had something planned out, but I forgot.
Well, this is what you get for planning.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyway, we're finishing this train wreck of a Shrek fanfiction. Should I wait till
Lovely.
after the first minute to be saying his name? Probably. But, oh well, here we are.
Somebody. Oh wait, we've already done that
No,
joke.
I did that with the first. I did that with the first story, like literally the title, like the words. Anyway, we're on chapter 8. Author's note: I'd like to thank Gage the Hedgehog for reviewing last chapter. Ooh woo! Please enjoy reading this chapter. I had a hard time wording and editing it, and I'm still not completely satisfied with it. Shrugs. I mean, hopefully you put more effort into that with this chapter than previous ones. Please leave some feedback. I love those. Ooh woo. Everyone have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Fuck.
Hey, I struggled to breathe past the lump that formed in my throat after he finished speaking. Wiping yet more tears from my cheeks, I took a shuddering breath in an effort to calm myself. Why does this story resonate with me so deeply? This happened to people I will never know over a decade before my own birth, so why does this affect me so much?
Bad writing?
Possibly. I don't know.
Or maybe it has to do with the fact that you witnessed you just had to deal with. God damn it. Hey, Zane?
I too enjoy saying words.
No, you don't.
Finally getting a handle on my own emotions, I settled for leaning against Nideth's thumb as he stepped through the destroyed landscape. He seemed content enough to let the silence stretch between us as we both mused over what had been said.
Bean.
Ah, yes. Child, did you know that after you hit your second puberty, that baby elves start out as beans?
Brain. I thought back over what Tree Daddy had told me of his part in the final battle and the origins of the capital's name. Yes, Daughter Blood.
Daughter blood.
I still hate that. No.
It's so
No,
uninspired.
No,
Yes, daughter's blood, named after the time that our daughter was given rule for one day, but we didn't know that she was on her period.
I'd accept that
even
over
worse.
the actual reasoning.
I don't know. That might be even worse somehow.
Yeah, probably.
A lot of people died that day. It was a very
Yep,
bad
it's
period
worse.
that time.
Though I am angry at Tree Daddy, rightfully so, as he said, I can't help but get the feeling that even if he had stayed, it wouldn't have made a huge difference in the grand scheme of things.
You don't say.
Yeah, I guess fire does beat tree.
Mm.
Like in this weird rock, paper, scissors we have going. Perhaps in a twisted way, this was fated to happen. His sudden lack of courage was characteristic of his race. The lack of courage or courage? You need to be more careful phrasing. Are you saying that Ents tend to be cowardly or that they tend to be courageous? I need to know.
I don't think we'll get the
looks
answers
like the
from.
elf is racist.
Tree Ents tend to be cowardly, what with their massive imposing size. Wait, what?
Much like how elephants are quote unquote afraid of, mice.
Honestly, I think that might just be the same way people react to bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, it's small and fast.
That's
Don't let it touch me.
Elephants also find people cute.
Yes. Something has to. Wait, let's see. If he had stayed, I would be out a guide and informant. Way
Is
to
there a
think,
lot for you to unpack there?
way to think only in terms of yourself, Ava. Man, I'm glad you're not dead. I'm glad you didn't die horribly defending your people so that I would be able to have a guide through this forest. At the distance he has taken me, probably would have taken me weeks to traverse this massive forest to my destination, to my final destination, which was me getting hit with a bus.
Beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep.
Was
Seatbelts,
the
everyone.
reference a bit on the nose? Yes, but the nose is currently smeared across the street, so who cares? Though he may have abandoned my people when they needed him most, I can't blame him so much.
Just be nice to Tree Daddy. He's been through a lot.
God damn. I think it's specifically when you say Tree Daddy that it gets me.
Why?
Because
that Tom doesn't have a daddy.
it's because it's because it's Tom saying daddy.
Poor Tom. I didn't know you didn't have a daddy.
Like, even you saying daddy feels less weird.
Well, yeah, that's because I say weird shit.
Is Lydic uncomfortable?
I'm uncomfortable with you expressing sexuality anymore.
Tom, do it again.
The story of how the princess died for no reason also speaks to me on a deep level. I feel as if that story had
I too have died for no reason.
only on the inside.
ever since the librarian ate me.
What? Is that how you went God tier?
No, that was a joke we made last time.
All right.
Or
All right.
I made last time.
Right.
Cooking the baby.
And then Tom said, "Oh, is that what happened to Ava?" Because I made a joke of like, the librarian does not eat one's physical body, but simply their mind, leaving them a hollow husk, wandering the wastes, unable to think, unable to learn. Is that what happened to Ava? Yeah, that happened.
I feel as if that story has something to do with me somehow. Oh my god, it did happen.
Oh god.
It's impossible, though. It took place a decade before my birth. I can't imagine the grief the king and queen had been in to lose their firstborn child right as one of your allies turned on you. It was no wonder my kin fought so hard in the beginning.
Because they're ugly?
No, elves aren't ugly.
Maybe to you. Right. Okay. The story of all right. From my textbooks, it was because of the humans' superior technology and greater numbers that they won the war and hunted us to extinction. However, it may differ with this
the
side of the
superior
story.
technology in the Shrek universe.
Seeing how the winners always exclude the dirty things they did in written history.
Oh, fuck. I shuddered at the thought, wondering exactly how many facts and records were written with that bias. I mean, typically, like, here's the weird thing, was the fact that in these human history classes in the first story, it was like, we were fearful of the elves and therefore slaughtered them all. And it's like, if you were really going to go with the whole thing of, like, history written by the winners and shit, then the humans wouldn't have been like, oh, we just were kind of scared of them and how powerful they were. It would have been like, well, you see, they did this one thing. Like a whole thing of, well, you see, this one settlement got wiped off the map, and we think they had something to do with it. Like, it wouldn't just be, oh, no, we were worried that they might do something, and so we killed them all. That's not something who's like someone who's trying to make themselves look like the good guys does. Tom's line.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Yeah, instead of just sitting there in silence.
Sorry. I started at the jolt that ran through me from the hand carrying me. I glanced up at Nideth and found him looking somewhere in the distance. Dreading what I would find, I sat up and looked around, noting the vast expanse of something shimmering on the horizon.
Here
What's that
comes
tree,
the
Daddy?
sun.
Do-do-do-do.
Oh god. It's just the librarian like fucking T-posing into the sky while singing Here Comes the Sun. And I say,
The
it's
Teletubbies
all
baby
right.
son, but it's the librarian. The long T pose too, because it's the librarian's body.
No, wait. Actually, what I'm imagining, anyone who's like familiar with like fucking Sonic Forces, like the pose that fucking Infinite does,
Oh,
as he
God.
like flies through the sky with like his arms just like out to his side. So it's not even like a full T pose; it's more like a loose crucifixion pose.
God. I was thinking of the Teletubbies baby son.
Oh god.
Hello, the sun didn't return its library books, so now I am the sun.
But it's not even like it's just her face. It's just her in that pose floating into the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure to return your library books.
Just radiating light.
Here, have this.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know that's
that was
him.
the joke that was made in Sonic Suggest, is to where he was just T-posing across the area.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that pose. Just the librarian doing that to the sky. While singing
Yeah.
Here Comes the Sun.
But not even in a slow and menacing tune, just like the way it should be.
Full tempo. But in that one screechy voice, like she's even doing like the background instruments with her voice too. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
And it's all just about a half step out of tune. So it's like terrible.
Not even like intentionally disconcerting or creepy. Just yeah, it's a
Just
half.
painful.
She doesn't know the song that well.
Yeah, it's slightly off tempo and slightly out of tune.
Here comes the sun.
sun.
Do 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 do.
And I say, I don't know why I started turning into. I don't know why my librarian singing is Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh God.
Jaffa.
Ah yes, Jaffa. All right.
It's all right.
There lies the There lies Brisbane, young Ava. Tree Daddy
Hey, Space Broncos.
lifting his other gnarled hand to point at the shimmering expanse of water to the west. On the nearest shore lies Domino's Pizza, where the king and queen resides.
I mean, you
Where's
literally
that?
could have just called it Daughter Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Daughter Blood. I still. Oh god, that is the most edgelord shit. And that's coming from someone who just put a picture of Infinite in the chat.
Yeah.
Infinite is less edgy than that name. I followed his finger and spied various somethings standing out of the blackened and charred ground. It was the librarian. She multiplied.
Not again.
I am the trees now.
As we all know, the librarian is a master of shadow clone jutsu.
Kage Bushin no Jutsu.
You just in unison. You need to return your library books. God, this deep lore is ridiculous.
getting weirder by the second, just every time.
I mean, part of that is intentional.
Yeah.
Let's see. I followed the vague pattern of what seemed to be elvish buildings across the edge of the charred area into what looked like newer growth and disappeared into the older forest. Several sets of eyes peering out at me.
The older part seemed to have survived the flames, though it was obvious even from here that it took some massive damage. That's a lot of damage!
That's a lot of damage! I sawed this boat in half!
I can give you some Flex Seal.
Most of the tree daddies and tree mommies still have blackened bark, and the newer growth seemed to grow right out of the husks of the ones that died. As I continued to examine the landscape, a small smile tugged my lips as I spied a few small saplings poke defiantly out of the rubble.
Oh.
Are you worried that your books are damaged? That's fine. I'll fix them with Flex Seal. Just return them. Please. Sorry. Hold on. Give me a second.
To show the power of Flex Seal, I sawed this book in half.
That works.
I also just realized that every time I do that voice, I also intentionally hunch over my desk with like my fucking elbows up in the air.
I mean,
so have fun with that image.
I do too, honestly.
I mean, an alternate thing is to show the power of Flex Seal, I sawed Phil Swift in half. He didn't return his library books.
No amount of Flex Seal can fix him now. Or can
That's a lot of damage. Isn't that right, Phil? Please don't hurt me anymore.
I live in eternal agony. All I know is pain.
Shall I make you into a boat, Phil?
Oh, God.
Boat Phil.
Oh.
The older part seemed to have...
I yelped. I yelped is your line.
I yelped and grabbed onto Nidus Thumb tightly as the hand cradled me tilted, toward his trunk body. Oh God, Tree Daddy's gonna eat her. Feeling being lowered, fall shortly, making me tighten my hold.
This is the only way to keep you safe from the librarian.
And even then, I cannot guarantee you will leave entirely unscathed.
Just like hand bursts all the way through Tree Daddy. You thought you could keep her safe? You fool. I came for Phil Swift and I shall come for you.
At least I'm not running anymore.
Oh God.
Just the sap like trails down his chin.
Oh no, I'm sad.
After a few
it was from behind, so he also like kind of looked back as he said it.
Sorry about this. My sister's texting me.
Nah.
No, it's okay.
Just rips her arm out of his body and he collapses to the ground. You couldn't run forever, Tree Daddy.
Don't worry. I'll make you into plenty of library books.
I shall pay that dues to the library in time.
I'm just picturing something really dumb.
Oh God.
Just she like actually kidnaps someone for like, typical not turning in their library books, but instead of like killing them or tormenting them, they just have to work at the library.
How long do I have to keep working here? Well, based on the amount of time that you had the book overdue, I'd say 3 centuries.
Jesus Christ, what's the return policy on books here?
Usually death.
The soul of your firstborn for every day it is overdue.
But I can only ever have one firstborn.
But I'm sterile.
That's why you're working here.
Like looks around and all the other library staff is ghosts.
Oh. Alright, after a few seconds of this along with creaking of his wooden limbs stretching out made me realize that he wasn't putting me down. Oh my. He's bringing you down low though. Whether he seemed to be bending over to observe the earth directly below us, the sounds of shifting dirt and debris reaching my oars, along with indiscernible grumbling from my self-appointed guide as he dug around for something.
I left my car keys somewhere around here.
No, this is where I've hidden the library books.
You thought you could hide them forever, eh? This continued for a bit, though for how long I cannot say, before he harumphed in satisfaction and started to straighten up, books in hand. As his hand holding me leveled out to where it was before, I cautiously let go of his thumb, though I remained poised to grab on again at the slightest provocation. I yelped yet again at the sight of his other gigantic hand drifting towards me, holding something gently between his mossy fingertips. It was several books.
This, he intoned solemnly, is a testament to how life persists no matter the circumstances. Life, finds a way.
That's, a big pile of shit.
That's life.
It stopped above me, and I had to stand on the uneven wooden surface to take whatever it was from him. As the hand drifted away again, I opened my own palm and guessed lightly into what was sitting in it.
I don't know why. I'm just thinking about him now singing Always Think of on the Bright Side of Life. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. Death's a joke and life's a laugh, it's true. Anyway. Anyone out there who hasn't watched Life of Brian, watch Life of Brian. It's a good movie. There were a few small acorns sitting innocently in my pale palm, intermixed with darkened soil. They had been laying in. Due to this, these acorns would never take root, and some future lives have been wiped out.
The soil is newly fertilized from the fire, Tree Daddy
That
continued.
fire was decades ago.
Beginning to walk like he had never stopped. Soon there will be hundreds of new saplings like the ones you see ahead.
I don't think it's newly fertilized if the fire was 18 years ago.
Probably not, no.
Because the whole thing is that shit, like, that's the whole issue going on in, like, fucking Brazil, is that slash and burn farming, like, those ashes are washing away in, like, less than a year. The whole thing is that forest needs to grow back quick within, like, a short amount of time. Or, like, the stuff needs to grow back quick. It can't be, like, 18 years later, it's starting to recover because it's newly fertilized. It would be like, nah, shit's just starting to sprout back up pretty soon after.
Maybe there was another fire.
I delight in lighting the forest on fire. It reminds me of the power I hold over others. One day, the librarian too shall burn.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Centuries later, screaming from Tree Daddy.
I'm just
You
picturing.
thought you could ban me, eh?
Turns out the librarian is burning, but it's not doing anything.
Again, at this point, we've basically turned her into a Lovecraftian god with a love of books.
Basically.
And a very aggressive return policy as well.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I guess she's more like Nyarlathotep in the fact that she has a personality.
Dun dun dun.
Dom's line.
No, I read my line.
Did you?
Yeah, like soon there will be hundreds of new saplings.
Or was it?
It's Zane's line. I smiled.
Okay, yeah.
I smiled and nodded to his words, closing my fist protectively around that very evidence. Hope swelled within me as I gently tucked them into my pack, opting to sit and watch the slow progression to the place of my birth. Wait a second, like I said, those are elf babies, put them back!
Neil!
Yeah.
Neil! Take his coat.
Oh wait, hang on, sir. I believe he's the one who slaughtered most of our people.
Neil! Don't take his coat. Life, finds a way. I whispered to myself, grinning up at the sun slowly making its descent. No matter what.
As the sun sank with the passing of time, it became very obvious why the lake is called the Brisingata. And Brisingata.
Brisingata?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like part of the Brisinger, like fire in the ancient language. But let's see. Instead of looking like a normal lake, the reflection of the sun on the water's surface made it look like a wide path made of fire. The sight both took my breath away and made me shield my sensitive eyes from how intense the glare was.
Okay, I shit you not.
Hmm.
I'm taking a fucking screen cap of this because you need to fucking see what just fucking happened.
What happened?
Huh. For those of you wondering, Mike Googled the word Brisingata, and it just brought up the chapter 8 and chapter 7 of Rest Calm and Remember Me, the thing that we're reading right now.
And nothing else.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
Okay, Aragon ancient language.
Is it my line?
Yeah, pretty sure.
I'll read my line real quick then.
Oh god, it's called the
around.
Inhera Wiki.
Glancing around, I noted how Nideth cut a wide berth around the sprouting saplings and was heading towards the ruins of
Domino's Pizza.
Yep, Domino's Pizza. As I watched the city steadily approach, I tensed as a sudden wave of anxiety made my insides flutter.
Flutter water.
Flutter water.
Did you just say Flutterwater?
No,
No?
Tom?
I lied. Yes, I did.
Also,
It was-
I found that Brizinger is fire.
I know
And the
Brisinger's
blood thing comes from this too. Blood.
Mhm.
Blood Garm, Blood Wolf, Blood Eren, Blood Oath. Which, based on the whole Garm thing, I'm willing to take a bet that means that the ancient language in Aragon is supposed to be based on like the Nordic language.
Okay.
Because Garm was the giant wolf that was owned by Hela.
That was what?
Owned by Hela,
Okay.
the Norse underworld
I know who
goddess
Hela is.
and daughter of
Mhm.
Loki. And that just... part of that disappoints me. Don't know what it is exactly, but it does. A trivia section for this page that mentions like the inspiration for this. I go to the Gray Folk. Did Zane finish his line?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Ancient language. Okay, God. Stop being so goddamn. No, there's not a thing for anything of, hey, this was based on this or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Put forth. Fortha. And I'm leaving that page. What the fuck line am I on?
What if I?
What if I'm a disappointment to the king and queen? You're a disappointment to much greater, young lady. You're a disappointment to the librarian.
Well, the king and queen are dead, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly, but the librarian is eternal. Are they expecting someone wiser and stronger than me? Well, that first one's not saying much.
Oof.
Yes.
Sick burn.
It
That's
would
gonna be an F from me, dog.
whatever. It would be fitting for the last of the elves to be much wiser and more experienced than I.
Grunting, I held my stomach and took measured breaths, trying vainly to move the sudden weight compressing my lungs. Tree Daddy must have noticed my sudden case of nerves and began humming the lullaby from earlier. The song helped calm my anxious mind a bit, but the doubts were still bouncing around in my mind.
Looking at my torso, I realized that one of the librarian's hands had suddenly clasped around my torso.
It gave me a boner. What, you're not sexually attracted to librarians? I know I am.
Depends on the librarian.
I mean, maybe if they have something to, like, in their hands to beat me with, but other than that.
They're about to beat you with some new knowledge, boy. Hey, take out this book, but make sure to return it.
Library-themed BDSM, instead of a caning, they're beating you with a book.
After what seemed like both an eternity and a split second, Nadith reached a massive wooden arch that stretched over a vast amount of ground and reached higher than even the massive end. Arch was split, cracked, and charred in places and obviously worn by the elements, but it still stood strong. There were glyphs etched into its surface, some in recognizable ancient language, some that either escaped my comprehension or so charred that they were unintelligible.
Oh, yeah, baby, keep going. Shh. Whack. No talking in the library. Or keep quiet. God.
Oh, jeez.
Welcome to the most, the weirdest role play you've seen yet. That's saying something. Anyway. A sudden jolt brought me out of my careful examination as Tree Daddy stopped over the arch, craning his head back to examine the rows of glyphs scrawled across the top. With a gusty sigh, he slowly turned his attention on me, both sadness and victory reflecting in his grass. I hate it!
Here's where I leave you, last of the elves, he rumbled, making me jolt in a sudden panic. I have completed my last task. I cannot go any further than this.
Now I have library books to return.
Now I can finally die.
Or that. One of the two.
Who says they have to be mutually exclusive?
I must return my library books so that I may die in peace.
But, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But. I stammered, standing and clutching my pack as anxiety washed over my being once again. I still don't know everything. I still need you to show me around.
Why did she suddenly turn French?
I don't know if that was a French accent. It was some sort of accent.
It started sounding kind of French.
I don't even
Then
think
it turned
France is
into a
weird.
bad Arnold impression. I wobbled as a tremor shook through his hand from his chuckling. Pursing my lips, I glared up at him as his mirth subsided, silently demanding answers. Oh no, she's pouting.
I will still be around, young Ava, he reassured me, beginning to bend to set me down. The
He then
librarian will
spiked
not
me like
allow
a football.
the librarian will not allow me to die just yet. I simply cannot enter the city. I was tasked to guard it from the outside, and guard it I shall still.
I still have late fees to pay.
I
If
have
coin is
suddenly
not available,
irritated
my
at-
soul will do.
I huffed, suddenly irritated at his logic. Before I could come up with a good retort, I was knocked off balance as his hand tilted gently, gently depositing me on the soft soil. Later, bitch.
There are things you must discover for yourself here. He told my sprawled form, starting to slowly straighten up. I cannot hold your hand forever, child. I will be around when you have need of me. You only need to call out my name and I will heed your call, eventually. Good luck and farewell, Ava, last of the elves. Ah yes, it's going to be Chekhov's Tree Daddy.
Oh boy.
Let me check and see what the sequel for this is, because snippets from an elf's life, so at some point we're going to have to do that.
But not today, right? Dun dun.
I guess not. Well, there's one chapter. Wait a minute. Spin-off of Why Fear Me, I'm Only an Elf. Join Ava as she takes you through the years of her life. A series of one-shots featuring Ava's past, present, and future features Artie, Charming. Oh God, no! It better not feature that scene. I swear to God, if you decide to have that scene with Charming, I swear. Which that was done back in 2011. Anyway, yes, this is where we're going to leave this off.
Alright.
Special thank you to Destiny Baird and Longreach Jones for supporting us on Patreon.
Thank y'all. Seriously.
If you like what we do and would like to support us, then consider clicking on that link in the description and going to our Patreon and maybe donating a little something. It goes a long way. And with that,
Y'all have a good one.